City were impotent. They looked lost. The setup today at Manchester City, I don't understand what they were trying to do. Against Wolves last week, yes, they were susceptible to some counter-attacks early in the game. First day of the season, Wolves with their towels up. But today, it was from minute 1 until the last kick of the game, they looked so vulnerable. They're playing with a high line with no real pace at the back. That, for me, is a recipe for disaster. There's no intensity in that central midfield. They couldn't get near Tottenham. They could have the ball when Tottenham said have it, but when Tottenham pressed, when Tottenham hit them, when Tottenham went in with a little bit of authority, a little bit of energy, Man City, they shrinked away. And they're changing their attack. They're not trying with the overloads anymore. Yes, they maintain possession, but it isn't about loads of intricate passing, slowly working your way up from side to side to the box. They're looking for 2 or 3 passes into being goal-scoring positions. Barring an amazing pass from Erling Haaland around midway through the first half and a mistake from Porro that led to a good shot from Mamouche, they couldn't penetrate. The players, though, looked lost. And I'm taking nothing away from Tottenham, and I will speak more on Tottenham. But they didn't look like they knew what they were doing, Manchester City. Genuinely, they didn't know what they were doing. There was no togetherness. There was no cohesion. The passing was off. The timing was bad. Do we push the high line up? Do we sit a little bit deeper? They were so bad today, Man City. They were doing maybe the biggest schoolboy error every 5 minutes. Defenders were letting the ball bounce when long balls were being knocked up the other end. And what they couldn't handle, Tottenham's tactic today was absolutely brilliant. You're seeing it more and more in football now. Liverpool have been doing it for years. Everybody else has now followed suit. You need good athletes and you need pressure-resistant players. And Spurs actually have that. Tottenham's position last year, I always felt, was more down to how the manager was playing than the squad in itself. Some squads, like Manchester United, I think it's a squad overhaul that's needed. With Spurs, although they need better players, I think their biggest issue was and always has been the way Ange had them playing. But what they were doing fantastically well today is, and the statistics back this up as well, I'm going to give you a mad stat from the first half. I'm interested to actually go and check now as to whether or not this echoed into the second half as well, and it absolutely does. Wow, the numbers are crazy. But what they were doing, Pedro Porro and Jed Spence were the main 2 architects of the attacks from Spurs today. They allowed City to press them, but because the line is high, all Spurs were doing is resisting the press and were switching the ball long in the opposite direction. And that is why Pedro Porro today, 17 passes into the final third. In third position on the stats was Jed Spence with 8. Number 9 of passes into the final third today was Vicario. The top 3 players in the entire game across both teams with the most passes into the final third was Pedro Porro with 17, Vicario with 9, and Jed Spence with 8. To put that into context, Rico Lewis did 8, Cherky did 7, John Stones did 6, Reinders did 5, Nico Gonzalez did 5, Ruben Diaz did 4. James Trafford then on 4. The next Spurs player is Bentancur on 3. Spurs, they had their number today. They taught City a lesson. And this is my message to Pep Guardiola. You've got to fix this. You are going to get exposed in the Premier League this season again and again and again and again if you play this way. You cannot play like this in the Prem anymore. Teams are too powerful, too press resistant, and too quick. Yes, if they're trying to play from the back and trying to play the ball to the edge of your box, they're probably not press resistant enough or technically gifted enough to beat you at that. But what teams can now do in the Premier League from top to bottom, and Wolves sort of proved it last week, but then City blew them away, is resist that first charge in the press, switch the ball long to the opponent's flank, and City are vulnerable. Their weakness, the chink in their armour, the problem they have in their team has been massively exposed today by Thomas the Frank Engine and this Tottenham team. Massively, massively exposed. If you also have a gritty and a powerful midfield, you can stop them. Because I thought, listen, I rate both Reinders and I rate Cherky, but they were completely and utterly taken out of this game today in every single which way imaginable. Every single which way. One chance created by Turkey. I'm not even sure if Reinders did create a chance. They were second guessing. They were being dispossessed. They were being hounded out the match. Sarr, Paulinia, and Bentancur, animals. They were animals today in the way they just destroyed. And I mean this. I'm using this word. I mean this word. They absolutely destroyed that central area. Now, they weren't trying to dominate the ball. People will look at the stats and go, wow, City had 61% of the ball. Spurs allowed them to keep the ball where they had it, and they were comfortable with it. And that is Thomas Frank football. And for whatever reason, City went into today's game thinking they were playing Big Angie's team, who, by the way, battered them 4-0 last year as well. They've got their number, and we kind of know that. But I think it's exposed some major flaws in this Man City team. And I mean this, if Pep doesn't address it, they'll be in another crisis. It may be too early today to say they're in a crisis, but they will be in a crisis. No doubt in my mind if that isn't addressed. You can't do it in the Prem. You cannot get away with it in this league with the way teams play. You will be absolutely ripped apart from pillar to post. No doubt about that whatsoever. They've got to address it, and they've got to address it now. Individually, like I've already mentioned, you look at that City team today, and look, I don't think there's a single player really that can hold their head up high, but there is one I've got to single out, and I'm sorry to do it. I'm sorry to single him out, but it has to be done. What the fuck is Pep Guardiola doing? Buying James Trafford, playing James Trafford. I get Ederson might leave, but Ederson when he's retired is going to be better than this man. Ederson when he was 5 years old is better than this man. Criminal act. An absolutely criminal act to play James Trafford today. An abomination of a decision. It truly, truly was. I thought, again, Nico Gonzalez, a good game last week against Wolves. I just thought he's such a poor imitation for what City need. I don't think he has the physicality for this league to play in that kind of holding role by himself. Reinders and Cherki are brand new. They need time to settle in this league. I thought Haaland today, barring one good pass, was invisible. He missed a massive chance to get a goal back at the end of the first half. Would have made the second half very, very important. And then he gets the ball. And I made a note of this on the 52nd minute. He gets the ball. He has an opportunity to square it for a tap-in. And he overhits it. Now, I've defended him many, many times. And I stand on things, the reasons I've defended him about him being a League One and a League Two player. But that moment that he let me down. He let everybody in that stadium down. That should have squared the game up. Sorry, that should have got them back into the game at 2-1. And it was early because the first 10 to 15 minutes of the second half, City were really good. They had Spurs pinned in. They're creating goal-scoring opportunities. And Spurs were wobbling a little bit. But as soon as they rode that storm, they offered absolutely nothing else for the rest of that second half. And I think Spurs I thought they may have ended up kicking themselves because they had some chances late on to make it 3. They didn't take them. And you always know there's a sting in the tail when you've got players like Erling Haaland in your team. But overall, I thought Mamouche today, I thought he had an absolute stinker of a game. And the one issue I see with City as well is they play very differently when they have the likes of Doku on the pitch compared to when there's Mamouche. And I understand having a dichotomy in your play. But it feels like almost two different systems depending on who's starting. And there is this element of confusion between the players. And that's just me watching as an outsider. City fans may see that a little differently. But overall, Spurs deserved this in every single which way today. They truly, truly deserved this victory. There's no doubt about it. They were by far the better team. But City, for me, Pep's got to fix this back line. He's got to fix this back line very, very quickly indeed. Because if he doesn't, there is going to be a crisis again. There is going to be a crisis. And I'll go back to my hot take at the beginning of the season. Something I threw out there as a little bit of a throwaway comment. One that I'm not saying is now going to come true because of one bad result. Don't twist my words. But if he doesn't fix the back line, they're going to go for a really bad run. Pep quits before Christmas. He won't be able to handle it. He really, really won't. Just my hot take at the beginning of the season. But he's got to fix the back line out. You can't be that high with no pace and then allow your team to press like that. Teams are just going to knock it over the top and you're going to get countered to death in the EPL. Hit the like button, people. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel and get your comments in below as well, please. If you can get that done for us, that would be amazing.